If we have to burn things, tell Hollande we will.
Factory employees up in arms. Hundreds of thousands of jobs are being lost.
We don't normally smash things, but we are tempted.
They don't see us as people, they see us as machines. We're the sick part of the business, and they cut.
In this report, we look at the plight and the fight of factory workers being laid off. 1 week on the front line of labour relations in crisis hit France. We are in the Normandy countryside near Cherbourg in northern France. Life has been extremely stressful for this family for the last 10 days. Sophie's not always at home in the evenings as she usually is.
Va travailler, maman?
Is Mummy going to work?
Oui.
Yeah?
Elle va au travail.
But not to work.
Pas pour travailler.
No.
What am I doing?
You're fighting for compensation.
Trying to explain her fight to the children is a bit confusing for them.
Ready for another busy day?
Sophie is going to work, but instead of a briefcase, she's taking a duvet. She and her colleagues are occupying the factory they work at. So this is where you spend your nights?
Yes, we sleep here every other night. 2 teams of 10 people alternate. Hi, did you sleep well? Any power cuts?
Sophie and her 20 colleagues face the dole. They're all women, the average age is 53. The news that their factory, Sokoval, was closing came out of the blue.
We all said right away we'd stand our ground, lock up the boss in inverted commas, and tell him what's what, hike up the pressure and open negotiations.
This is the boss, their version of him anyway. He's not been back to the factory since the women did indeed lock him up for a few hours in yet another case of boss snapping.
We've put his suit on the door to say we're here, we're waiting for him.
The 21 women are organising the protest as best they can. Meeting rooms have been turned into bedrooms and storerooms. Food has been laid out here. Each person does what they can to help. Sophie, previously a buyer for the company, has discovered a talent for communication.
I'm a beginner. I don't know anything, and I'm not even a union member. We're improvising.
Here, they are meeting the press.
We really want to get our message, our anger across, and the only way to do that is via the media.
Jacques, a photojournalist, knows the factory well. He used to work here when it was owned by Dormoy, a well-known French suit manufacturer. The company went through several worker management clashes. The factory was first occupied in 1978.
The Special Riot Police, the CRS, they got us out in '78. They dragged the girls out by their hair. They dragged the guys out by their necks. There were massive layoffs. We were about 700 staff in those days.
35 years on, the women are what's left after no fewer than 10 rounds of layoffs. The management wants to keep them, but only if they agree to work in Bulgaria or China. Tonight, they're gripped by the evening news and an interview with the French President, François Hollande. The women are experts in men's ready-to-wear, and it's form, not content, that grabs their attention in the interview. They're looking at the president's suit.
It's a pity the president, who after all represents France, has such badly cut suits.
And that gives the women an idea to get their message heard. They're going to make him a suit worth wearing. But it's midnight, time to sleep. For now. Sunrise at Aulnay-sous-Bois, a Paris suburb, home to a Peugeot Citroën plant. The company is a jewel of French car making. For workers belonging to the CGT union, voting to continue strike action is little more than a formality. They've been battling closure non-stop for weeks. 2,800 employees are being laid off.
We are all individuals. We all have kids, loans, homes, bills, all that. We are all people.
Management has got 100 executives and bailiffs in place monitoring the strikers. Their presence in fluorescent green jackets is not appreciated. Neither side is listening to the other.
You throw firecrackers and eggs at us. You hose us down. You fire air rifles at us. No, really, that's nothing. That's nothing. I used to work at a paper factory. They would use slingshots and steel bullets.
Unlike the team at Socoval, not all the staff at Peugeot Citroën are facing the same fate. Unions here are at odds with each other. 5 have signed an agreement with the management and suspended strike action. One union, the CGT, is stepping it up. Some production has resumed this week for the first time in 2.5 months. Those working are on their guard. 100 strikers tried to stop them on the production line the day before. They don't want to speak for fear of reprisals.
3 cars have been turned upside down. They attack production. It's guerrilla warfare here. It's war.
Ahmed is 38. He's been working here for 12 years. On strike, he's off to pick up his pay.
Hello, what are you here for? For the check.
The CGT union is paying him, it's well organized, and has the support of local authorities. It collects donations. The hundreds of thousands of euros is shared among the strikers.
He gets 800 euros. It's the same for each striker. Go and see Serge. He'll write your check.
800 euros per striking month. That's half his salary, just enough to stay afloat.
As long as I can pay my rent, I can hold out for 6 months.
Or till the factory closes. The CGT strikers, however, refuse to give up the fight. The question of money, too, is vital in the fight at the Socoval plant.
I brought coffee, you need it, and here's a donation.
What are you doing?
I'm making a contribution as a sign of solidarity.
Claudine has come this morning to support her former colleagues. She was one of the first union members at the factory in the early 70s. She was laid off. Her return here now stirs up emotions.
This was France's luxury industry. We made the best suits in France.
Prince Régnier was a client.
And President Mitterrand.
Elizabeth has been working here the longest. She has 42 years' experience as a cutter.
We cut with these hand scissors. We were standing all day.
The factory at its height made 300 suits a day. There's been no production at all for 2 months. It's the only upmarket male ready-to-wear suit maker on this scale remaining in France.
It was hard being laid off like that. 2 years from retirement. My goal was to preserve the know-how I've developed. I'm sure it's going to be needed soon. It really is a pity.
The company has a large stock of suits valued at 700,000 euros. They're behind this door. The women have been tempted to force it open, to sell the merchandise and pocket the money.
If I could, I would. We're determined about what we're doing.
So far, they have remained strictly on the right side of the law. They have neither touched the machines nor resorted to violence. Staff at Goodyear, meanwhile, have turned violent. They clashed with police at company headquarters in the Paris region. 19 police officers and 6 strikers were wounded.
We have to fight. We have to smash everything. We've got to lash out. Just like in Spain or Greece.
A few days later, on another day of action, the mood has changed.
Violence isn't necessarily the best way of making ourselves the most popular. It's sometimes a clumsy way of expressing discontent.
The battle with management at Goodyear's plant in Amiens, in northern France, has been going on for 6 years. 1,200 jobs are at stake. The strikers have a police escort wherever they go. Authorities are concerned about what they're doing. The goal for the strikers here, improving their image. Roses have taken the place of clashes at the suggestion of this man, Michael Wamen, the charismatic communist leading leader of the strike action.
We're saying to riot police that we're not going to fight with you. And we're telling Interior Minister Manuel Valls that as you filed a complaint against us, we're giving you roses. The rose is the symbol of the Socialist Party, right?
The day passed off peacefully, sending the message to politicians that the workers would not accept being dismissed as criminals and showing they were simply employees angry at their boss. Sophie and her colleagues at the Sokowal plant are waiting for their boss to show up. He has agreed to return to the factory. But when he arrives, he stays outside.
Is he afraid we'll kidnap him? Why don't you want to come inside?
Because of the occupation.
He suggests holding talks outside. The problem is that it's 0 degrees centigrade out there.
This is not a good environment for a meeting. It's freezing cold.
It's not a good environment to occupy a factory either. This is 2013. We're in France. I cannot understand why people enjoy making an effigy of me like this and kidnapping people working for the company and doing that with the excuse that it's so union demand should be met.
Eros Catalano represents a large Italian group which owns Sokowal. It bought the plant for a symbolic €1 15 years ago. He's been summoned with the women by the local authority to try and reach an agreement on the amount of redundancy his firm should pay the women.
This meeting aims to get management to face up to its responsibilities. We consider that to be really important.
The meeting includes the strikers, management staff and local officials. Local government has its say. The women head back to the factory an hour and a half later. They're asking for €30,000 each in compensation. Their boss has said no. They meet to decide where to go from here.
It's not so much to ask. I'd find it a pity after a meeting we've waited so long for to say that he'd won.
They vote unanimously to continue their sit-in. It is a last-ditch struggle for them because the factory's fate is sealed. It will close.